Welcome everyone to another In the Spotlight from Parking Network. This is a special one as we're going to be doing it in person. To do so, I'm joined by Colin from Astron, Business Development Manager. Colin, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Mano. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really enjoying.
Of course. Can you please introduce yourself and Astron?
Yeah, so I'm Colin Olszak. I'm basically almost 40 years old and working for more than 10 years old in the car park industry, so I was working in France, and right now I'm in Luxembourg in the company Astron. And Astron is a company based in Luxembourg. We are an expert in construction for multi-story car park in steel and all over Europe. Basically, we are present in more than 15 countries in Europe, which is really interesting for our customers that we can follow them and know all the regulation in all the countries. And we have 3 main factories in Europe, one in Moscow, one in Czech Republic, and one in Luxembourg. Yeah.
So Colin, as an international company, can you tell me a bit on the scale of the projects that you've done?
Well, Mano, so basically we are all over Europe, and we can follow projects starting from, let's say, 150 parking spots to no limit. Let's call it like that, So the main projects that we are doing are for airport, like 3,000, 4,000, those kind of projects which are really interesting. Basically, per year, we are building approximately 15 projects all over Europe, And right now, in 2023, we have approximately 100 projects all over Europe, in 10 different countries. So quite interesting as well.
As experts in design and construction of multi-story car parks, can you tell me a bit on what really is the important aspects to the construction and design?
Well, that's a really good question. All our customers ask for the same. It's like, I would say first of it is the safety inside the car park. It's really, really interesting to know that, to understand how can we have a good car park where pedestrians feel safety with a good atmosphere, and where the car flow is going really well inside the car park as well, So for us, let's say position of the ramp, type of ramp, for example, it's really interesting for the flow inside the car park. And of course, the position of the staircase, size of the staircase. Of course, you got some norms, some regulation, but in fact, it's like if we really have a good design, people will save inside the car park. So that's definitely one of our value, is to make a car park really, really interesting for the people to live inside. We all the time see a car park like a storage for car. We most of the time forget that there's some pedestrian people inside, So.
And as an international company, would you say that varies between different regions, perhaps with regulations or policies?
I would say, madam, it's really interesting because we are, as a European company, let's say Europe was not built in one day. And of course, each country has got its own regulation. So we used to say in Astron, like we got a standard which fits to almost all the countries. But of course, we must be flexible. One of the main aspects is clearly the fire regulation, which is changing. The evolution right now with the new charging for electrical car inside the car park. The evolution is really changing all the regulation on that way. So basically, what we can say is it's the most different. A little bit concerning the load, which are different for some countries as well. So some cars are bigger than the other one. And in fact, if you just refer to the geometry globally in a car park, some examples which are really funny, Switzerland, for example, you got more space for the car, which maybe a little bit normal, so it's because they got probably bigger cars as well. But we can fit as well, It's like really, again, we got the standard, but we are flexible, so we can really adapt our concept to all of the country in Europe. Yeah.
So it's interesting that you bring up EVs, because I find that that's a really big topic right now within the parking market. Would you say that Astron is really taking that into account when it comes to new constructions and projects?
It is definitely a big topic, yeah. It is a new topic. So most of the people are asking questions without having any answer right now, which is because, of course, all the regulation, all the norm, they are not changing as fast as the new topic is coming on the market. So let's say some countries are really well advanced. I mean, which is quite interesting. Some countries are making real tests, which is as well really interesting for us because they have some result. They can provide, for example, the result that fire is not definitely different between a normal car, let's say with gas car, or an electrical car. So that's interesting as well. But again, it's not a changing just only on the regulation. It's a changing on how we use the car park, because tomorrow you are coming probably in the car park just to feel the car, to have electricity inside the car, So of course we have to take it in account. We have to take the fact that probably tomorrow at least 20-40% of all the parking space will have a charging station, So for us, it's quite interesting to have this new challenge to face it. Yeah.
And when it comes to future trends, I understand that Astron is putting a lot of emphasis on being ecological and sustainable. Is that correct?
Definitely. It's really a trend that we are facing right now. I mean, for all our customers, I mean, cities, industrial customer, hospital, what they are expecting right now is an ecological car park, with less carbon footprint. What we can mention as first is for sure the solar panel that we can put on. Right now, let's say we put on almost 50% of our old project, we have it with the solar panel, which is, let's say, the first step. But inside the raw material, we can have as well an answer, which is quite interesting. It's like we can provide to the customer raw material from steel and coming from more than 95% of recycling steel already, So that means that we are already in the move to say, okay, right now we do not import raw material anymore. We can have it already on the market, and we can provide it to them. Quite interesting for our customer because, I mean, they love it. It's like not just only about raw materials that we are going again to import from many key country all over the world, So that's, let's say, those two main aspects, which is really interesting for us. Like we are focusing on it. Yeah.
And speaking about the advantage of working with Astron and how you stand out in the market, I understand that you're also working with dismountable solutions now.
That's an interesting question, Maya. Dismountable aspect is really interesting because most of our customers, for example, the operator in car park, they say, okay, here in this neighborhood, I got a need for, let's say, 1,000 parking space, But I don't know, maybe in 20 years, I know that I will not need it as much as today, Because, of course, trend is changing, maybe the neighborhood is changing, You can create another car park close to that and so on, So with our new solution, it's like you can build 1,000, for example, and in 20 years, you can remove just only 200, 300, 400 parking space. And probably with this element, you can build a 400 parking spot on another neighborhood, which is just booming on this other aspect, So that's really what we are focusing right now on this last year. Currently, we are doing in Luxembourg one of the first car park which is 100% dismountable, and each element must have a reference that could be used for the next coming 80 years. So you can dismantable the car park, and after you can reuse each element. So that's really the main trend that we are going.
Would you then say that it's quite a long-term investment that, for example, a city would be making?
Obviously, Manawi. I mean, cities, hospital, airport, all kind of customers that we are facing, they have a need, but they're never sure that this need will fit exactly for the coming years, So in fact, while they do this kind of investment, it's really interesting for them that they can change in 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. Again, flexibility is the key for this kind of element, For an airport, it's like when you are building a car park there, maybe tomorrow you have to build a new terminal just close to that, but Well, when I say tomorrow, okay, it's like 20 years or something like that. But of course, you can change, dismantable a car park and just move it for 2 kilometers maybe or something like that, you know. So really, really long-term investment for each kind of customer, yeah, definitely.
So I also want to bring the conversation to some specific future trends that we're seeing within the industry. For example, seeing more of park and ride, mobility hubs, or automated valet parking. Is this something that Astron also is considering?
One of the big trend, which right now would be a little big bang for us, is the new automated valet parking that, of course, some other company are providing on the market, which is really interesting for us because it's a change in design. And of course, in the needs of a car park, you know, we do not need to think so much about the pedestrian way and the pedestrian security and safety inside the car park, but we need to think about how to design a car park which is able to have a safety zone for the pickup and for the drop of the car, you know. So quite interesting for us to change our way of mind. Of course, when you talk about storage as well, we do not need like the classical storage as well, you know, because a car can go park itself as well. Our value is like, again, we see the car park as a space to live, means as a mobility hub. It's not tomorrow storage for car park as usual, let's call it like that, as what we see today, you know. Tomorrow it will be really full of service. Pedestrian can come inside the car park. I don't know, to have some valet parking as well, to have some shopping, to have some bar maybe on the rooftop or something like that. That's definitely this kind of value that we are focusing on, you know, like just to avoid this old aspect of a car park, which is most of the time the place that we do not want to go to live in, you know, which is obviously something like that. So definitely it is this kind of trend that we are looking, this mobility hub, like you come with a scooter, with a bike, you know, you change your way of mobility, and that's our aspect for sure, yeah.
So you mentioned safety for pedestrians. I find that parking operators really value user experience so that they keep coming back to the parking facilities. Can you tell me a bit on how Astron takes this into account when it comes to new projects or constructions?
Now, it's a key point for us, you know, how can we fit to the needs of the operator, you know. Each operator has got his own atmosphere inside the parking, you know. So we decided as a own manufacturer, you know, to change our way to produce the thing to fit definitely all the needs of the operator. You want, I don't know, kind of lighting like that, to position the lighting here, to have like a 3-column space on this place, you know, to some many elements, you know, that which are the specification of each operator, we can fit them. We can definitely fit them, sorry. It's like really important for us to be really much more close that what needs the market for the operator. We work with some dedicated designer for car park inside, you know, to have this user experience inside the car park, which is really interesting, you know, because when we talk about operator, what they want is that the customer is coming back in the park, in the car park, you know. So it's not question about to be just the technical approach, you know. No, we have really a design approach, architectural approach, what kind of, again, color, atmosphere inside we can put in a car park. So these kind of topics, definitely, we are really, I'm happy to talk about it with our operator, yeah, definitely.
So Colin, we've spoken about a lot of new things that Astron has been developing or looking to develop. Do you find that the cost for these type of new innovative solutions is decreasing over time?
Well, definitely. I mean, of course, for example, when I take this solution for the dismountable car park, you know, the first option that we have was close to, let's say, a gap to 15% more to have this kind of solution. But yeah, research and development, they did their job, you know, and step by step, we are facing like, we can provide some savings, which is really interesting. And we are quite optimistic that probably next year or the coming years will be just only a gap to 2 or 3%. So that will be really a solution that we can provide to basically all our customers for tomorrow, yeah. So interesting for us to provide as well.
Well, Colin, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you for coming by to do so in person.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to seeing more of the implementation of the innovative solutions that you introduced to us.
Thank you, Manois. Thank you for inviting me. That was a great pleasure to share with you.
And thank you to the audience for joining today. Make sure to like and subscribe. And for more Parking Network news, go to parking.net, and we'll see you again on the next video.